The darkness of space held no mercy. Captain Ji-won Kim stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, watching the stars through the main window. Her ship had traveled for 3 months to reach this empty corner of the galaxy. 3 colony ships had disappeared here 2 years ago. Over 800 people gone without a trace. Earth wanted answers, and Ji-won intended to find them. The bridge hummed with quiet activity. Officers moved between stations, checking systems and monitoring data. Commander Minji Park stood beside Ji-won, her arms crossed. She looked tense. They both knew this mission was dangerous. The Dauntless was Earth's first real battleship, built in secret over 10 years. No one knew what they would find out here. A sharp beep broke the silence. Dr. Hyun-Lee turned from her station. The young scientist pushed her glasses up and frowned at her screen. Her fingers moved quickly across the controls. "Captain, I am picking up signals," Hyun said. "Multiple sources. They are not human." Ji-won felt her heart beat faster. This was it. First contact. "Can you translate them?" Hyun worked for several minutes. The bridge stayed quiet. Everyone waited. Finally, Hyun looked up. Her face was pale. "They are warnings. Turn back." "This space is claimed. Trespassers will be killed." "Show me the source," Ji-won ordered. The main screen changed. It showed a map of the area. Dozens of red dots appeared, scattered across the system. Ships, lots of them. Minji leaned forward. "That is a whole fleet." Before Ji-won could respond, alarms blared. Lieutenant Taeyang Choi shouted from engineering. "Contact! Multiple ships approaching fast. They are not friendly." "Battle stations," Ji-won commanded. Her voice was calm, but her hands gripped the railing. "Shields up. Weapons ready." The Dauntless came alive. Lights shifted to red. Blast doors sealed. The crew moved with practiced speed to their positions. Through the window, Ji-won saw them coming. 20 ships, maybe more. They were strange shapes, not like anything humans had built. Sharp edges and dark metal. They looked dangerous. The enemy ships opened fire. Bright energy beams shot through space. The Dauntless shook as the first hit struck the shields. Sparks flew from a console. An officer fell but got back up quickly. "Return fire," Ji-won said. "Target their engines." The Dauntless had different weapons than the alien ships. Humans used railguns, metal projectiles moving at incredible speed. The first shot hit an enemy ship dead center. The alien vessel exploded in a ball of fire. The other ships scattered, surprised. Minji grinned. They were not expecting that. Taeyang launched the drones. Small attack craft shot from the Dauntless, each one controlled by advanced computers. They moved in patterns the aliens could not predict. The drones swarmed the enemy ships, firing and dodging. 3 more alien vessels took heavy damage. But there were too many. The aliens regrouped and attacked from all sides. The Dauntless rocked under the assault. A power conduit burst. Smoke filled part of the bridge. Ji-won could hear damage reports coming in from all decks. "We cannot take much more of this," Minji warned. Ji-won thought fast. The alien ships were faster, but the Dauntless was tougher. And humans knew how to use their environment. "Taeyang, take us into that asteroid field." "Full speed." "Captain, that is dangerous," the young engineer protested. "Do it," Ji-won said firmly. The Dauntless turned hard and dove toward a field of floating rocks. The alien ships followed, still firing. Ji-won watched the asteroids grow larger on the screen. Closer, closer. At the last moment, she gave the order. "Hard right! Use the gravity well!" The ship swung around a massive asteroid, using its gravity to gain speed. The aliens tried to follow, but they were moving too fast. 3 ships smashed into rocks and exploded. The others pulled back, confused and damaged. Ji-won saw her chance. "All weapons, fire now!" The Dauntless unleashed everything. Railguns, missiles, energy weapons. The surprised aliens took massive damage. 5 more ships were destroyed. The rest turned and fled into the darkness. The bridge erupted in cheers. They had won. But Ji-won did not celebrate. She knew this was just the beginning. "Hyun, did you record everything?" "Yes, Captain. I have data on their ships, weapons, and tactics." "Good. Send a message to those ships that ran away. Tell them we come in peace. We only defended ourselves. Days passed. The Dauntless repaired its damage and searched the area. They found wreckage from one of the missing colony ships. Major Suho Kang led a team to investigate. What they found made everyone sick. The ship had been attacked and destroyed. There were no survivors. Hyun analyzed the data. These marks matched the weapons from the ships that attacked us. The same group killed our colonists. Jiwan felt cold rage build inside her. These aliens had murdered hundreds of innocent people, but she forced herself to stay calm. Can you identify who they are? I think so, Hyun said. She pulled up images on the screen. They call themselves the Broken Clans, pirates and raiders. They work for whoever pays them. Someone paid them to kill our people? Minji asked, her voice hard. Before Hyun could answer, new signals came in. This time it was a clear transmission. A face appeared on the screen. It was not human. The creature had features like an insect with multiple eyes and clicking mandibles. When it spoke, the translation came through cold and hostile. Unknown vessel. You have entered space controlled by the Corvian Ascendancy. You will submit to inspection immediately. Surrender your weapons and technology or you will be destroyed. Jiwan stood tall. This is Captain Jiwan Kim of the Earthship Dauntless. We are here searching for our missing people. We do not recognize your authority. We will defend ourselves if attacked. The alien leader who called himself High Arbiter Velthus did not seem pleased. Earth, we have no record of your species. You are primitives who do not understand galactic law. You will obey or face consequences. We are not primitives, Jiwan replied. And we will not surrender. Leave us alone and there will be no trouble. Velthus made a gesture. The transmission ended. Moments later, sensors showed massive energy readings. A fleet was approaching. Not 20 ships this time. Hundreds. The entire area was being surrounded. Minji looked at the readings and swore. They are blocking all escape routes. We are trapped. Jiwan made a decision. She gathered her senior officers. We cannot fight that many ships, but we will not surrender. Taeyang, how is that ghost drive prototype? The engineer looked nervous. It works mostly, but it has never been tested at this range. We could end up anywhere. Better than dying here, Jiwan said. But first, Hyun, I need you to do something. Take everything we learned about the Ascendancy and the Broken Clans. Broadcast it on all frequencies. Let everyone in the galaxy know what happened to our people. Hyun smiled. Yes, Captain. They will not like that. The broadcast went out. The Dauntless told the story of the murdered colonists. It showed evidence that the Ascendancy had hired the Broken Clans to kill anyone who entered this region. It asked why they were hiding something. Across the galaxy, the message was received. Governments debated. News spread. The Corvian Ascendancy tried to deny everything, but the evidence was clear. Chaos began. On the Dauntless, Jiwan gave the final order. Activate the ghost drive. Get us out of here. Taeyang worked frantically. The ship began to vibrate. Reality itself seemed to bend around them. The Ascendancy fleet fired, but their shots passed through empty space. The Dauntless vanished, leaving only confused enemies behind. Inside the ship, the crew held on as the ghost drive pulled them through space in ways that should not be possible. When they finally stopped, they were far away. Safe for now. But Jiwan knew the real fight had just begun. Earth had announced itself to the galaxy, and the galaxy had answered with violence. From this moment on, humanity would never be alone again. Whether that was good or bad remained to be seen. The Dauntless limped through space like a wounded animal. Sparks flew from damaged panels. The lights flickered. In the engine room, Taeyang and his team worked day and night to fix the ghost drive. It had saved them, but the escape had cost them. Critical systems were failing. Captain Jiwan Kim walked through the ship, checking on her crew. Everyone was tired. They had been running for 2 weeks. Food supplies were getting low. The water recyclers needed parts they did not have. Morale was dropping fast. In the command center, Minji studied star charts. We are in the Outer Rim now. This region is not controlled by the Ascendancy. Lots of small factions, pirates, independent stations. Not exactly friendly territory. Jiwan nodded. But we have options here. The Ascendancy would just kill us on sight. At least here we can trade. Maybe find allies. Or more enemies, Minji said quietly. A signal came through. Hyun brought it up on the main screen. It was a message from someone calling themselves Ambassador Trell of the Nexian Federation. The face that appeared was not human. It looked like a bird with bright feathers and sharp eyes. Earthship Dauntless, the alien said. His voice was smooth but careful. Your broadcast has caused quite a disturbance. The Ascendancy is very angry. They have declared you criminals. They are offering a large reward for your capture. Jiwan kept her face neutral. What do you want, Ambassador? Trell tilted his head. The Nexian Federation represents 12 smaller species. We have watched the Ascendancy grow stronger for years. We do not trust them. Your broadcast proved they are liars and murderers. This gives us leverage. I have a proposal. We provide you with supplies and safe harbor. In exchange, you help us resist ascendancy expansion. You want us to fight your war, Minji said. I want us to fight our common enemy, Trell corrected. The ascendancy will not stop until they control everything. You have proven you can hurt them. Together we have a chance, Jiwon thought about it. They needed help badly, but making deals with unknown aliens could be dangerous. Let me discuss this with my officers. We will contact you soon. After Trell disconnected, Jiwon called a meeting. Her senior staff gathered in the briefing room. Everyone looked exhausted. Major Suho Kang had bruises from the last battle. Hyun had dark circles under her eyes. Taeyang was covered in grease and burns. We need those supplies, Taeyang said bluntly. Without parts, we will be dead in space within a month. But can we trust them? Suho asked. We know nothing about the Nexian Federation. This could be a trap, Hyun spoke up. I have been studying their communications. The Federation is real. They have been fighting the Ascendancy in small ways for decades. They are desperate for an advantage. We might be that advantage. Minji leaned back. I say we take the deal, but we stay ready to run if things go bad. Jiwon made her decision. Contact Trell, tell him we agree but with conditions. We share technology on our terms. We fight when and where we choose, and if they betray us, we will make sure the whole galaxy knows. The meeting with the Federation took place on a hidden station. Jiwon and Hyun went down in a shuttle, with Suho and a team of Marines as security. The station was old and crowded. Aliens of different species moved through the corridors. Some stared at the humans with curiosity, others with hostility. Trell met them in a conference room. 5 other ambassadors were present, each representing a different species. They asked many questions. Where was Earth? How many ships did humans have? What kind of weapons? Jiwon answered honestly but carefully. She did not tell them everything. Then one ambassador, a large creature with scales and too many teeth, stood up. You claim to want peace, but you destroyed 20 broken clan ships. You make enemies easily for peaceful people. Jiwon met his eyes. They attacked us first. They killed our colonists. We defended ourselves. We will always defend ourselves, but we do not seek war. We seek justice and the right to exist. Trell nodded slowly. Well said. The Ascendancy has ruled through fear for too long. Perhaps it is time for something new. We will provide the supplies you need. In 3 days, an Ascendancy patrol will attack one of our outposts. If you help us defend it, we will know we can trust each other. 3 days later, the Dauntless joined a small Federation fleet near the outpost. It was not much, just a mining station with a few thousand workers, but it had strategic value. If the Ascendancy took it, they would control the entire sector. The enemy came right on schedule. 50 Ascendancy warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. They were huge, covered in weapons and armor. The Federation ships looked like toys next to them. Jiwon felt her stomach tighten. This was going to be bad. All ships, hold formation, she ordered. Wait for my signal. The Ascendancy commander sent a message. Surrender the station or we will destroy it and everyone aboard, Trell responded. This station is under Federation protection. Leave now or face the consequences. The Ascendancy commander laughed. Then he gave the order to attack. Energy beams and missiles flew toward the station. The Federation ships moved to intercept, but they were too slow. The station took several direct hits. Explosions ripped through the outer ring. Now! Jiwon shouted. Hit them hard! The Dauntless appeared from behind a nearby moon where it had been hiding. Railguns fired, catching the Ascendancy ships by surprise. 3 enemy vessels exploded before they could react. The drone swarms launched, weaving through the battlefield like angry insects. But the Ascendancy adapted quickly. They focused their fire on the Dauntless. Shields flared as hundreds of shots hit. The ship shook violently. Damage reports flooded in. They were taking too much punishment. Suho had a different mission. While the space battle raged, he led his Marines in assault shuttles toward the largest Ascendancy ship. It was a dreadnought, the enemy flagship. If they could disable it, the battle might turn. The shuttles dodged fire and attached to the dreadnought hull. Suho used plasma cutters to burn through the armor. His team poured inside. Ascendancy soldiers met them immediately. The fighting was fierce and close. Bullets and energy blasts filled the corridors. Suho led from the front. He was a veteran fighter, quick and deadly. His team pushed deeper into the ship. They reached the reactor room. Taeyang had given them a special package, a device that would overload the reactor core. "Plant it and get out," Suho ordered. "We have 5 minutes." His tech specialist set the device. Alarms blared throughout the ship. The Ascendancy crew realized what was happening. More soldiers rushed to stop them. The Marines fought their way back to the shuttles. 2 did not make it. Suho had to leave their bodies behind. It hurt, but there was no choice. The shuttles detached just as the dreadnought reactor went critical. The massive ship exploded from the inside, a brief new sun in the darkness. The blast took out 4 nearby Ascendancy vessels. The enemy formation broke apart. The Federation ships pressed the attack. Caught between the defenders and the confusion from losing their flagship, the Ascendancy fleet retreated. The battle was over. The station was saved. Back on the Dauntless, the crew celebrated quietly. They had won, but the cost was high. The ship had taken severe damage. Casualties were reported from several sections. Ji-won visited the medical bay where the injured were being treated. She thanked each person personally. Trell contacted them later. "You fought well. The Federation is impressed. We are ready to formalize our alliance." But Ji-won had learned something troubling. While analyzing captured Ascendancy data, Hyun made a discovery. The scientist called Ji-won to her lab, her face worried. "Captain, you need to see this. The Ascendancy has been hiding something huge. There are references to something called the Unmaking. Stars are disappearing. Entire systems gone. The Ascendancy knows about it but has kept it secret." "Why would they hide that?" Ji-won asked. "Because they have no solution. If people knew the galaxy was dying, there would be panic. Complete chaos. The Ascendancy is trying to consolidate power before everyone finds out." Ji-won felt cold. This was bigger than a political fight. The entire galaxy was in danger. She made another difficult choice. "Send the data to Trell. Send it to everyone. The truth needs to come out. That will cause exactly the chaos the Ascendancy feared," Minji warned. "I know, but people deserve to know. They deserve a chance to prepare, to fight, to survive. Keeping them ignorant helps no one except those in power." The broadcast went out. Across the galaxy, governments received the data about the Unmaking. Panic spread. Some species prepared to flee. Others demanded answers. The Nexian Federation nearly collapsed as member species argued about what to do. High Arbiter Veltus appeared on all channels. He called the claims lies and propaganda. He declared humanity an enemy of all civilized species. He promised that the Ascendancy would hunt down and destroy every human ship. On the Dauntless, Ji-won gathered her officers one more time. "We just made ourselves the biggest target in the galaxy. The Ascendancy will throw everything at us. But we also showed everyone the truth. Now we have a new mission. We need to stop the Unmaking. We need to save the galaxy, whether they want us to or not." Minji smiled grimly. "No pressure then." Taeyang cracked his knuckles. "I always wanted to save the universe." "Sounds like fun." Suho just nodded. "My Marines are ready. Point us at the enemy." Hyun looked determined. "I will find a way to stop the Unmaking. We did not come this far to give up now." Ji-won felt. The message from Earth arrived 3 weeks after the battle. Captain Ji-won Kim read it 5 times to make sure she understood correctly. Earth was sending help. A fleet of 12 ships, all equipped with the latest technology. But they were 3 months away. The Dauntless had to survive that long. The galaxy was falling apart. Species that had been allies for centuries were now arguing. Some wanted to fight the Ascendancy. Others wanted to run from the Unmaking. Many blamed humanity for revealing the truth. If they had kept quiet, maybe everything would have stayed peaceful. But Ji-won knew that was nonsense. Ignorance did not save anyone. Ambassador Trell visited the Dauntless personally. The bird-like alien looked tired. "The Federation is breaking. Half my members want to surrender to the Ascendancy. They think submission is better than death. I am losing control." Ji-won poured him something resembling coffee. Hyun had learned to make it from analyzing alien drinks. It was not quite right, but Trell seemed grateful. "What do you need from us?" "Hope," Trell said simply. "My people need to believe we can win, that we can stop the Unmaking and defeat the Ascendancy. Right now, they see only death." "Then we give them hope," Ji-won said. "I have an idea. Gather representatives from every species that wants to resist. Not just the Federation. Everyone. Pirates, merchants, colonies, anyone who refuses to bow to the Ascendancy. We will form a real coalition. Trell looked doubtful. You want to unite people who have been enemies for generations? That is impossible. A week ago, an alien empire hunting us would have seemed impossible too. Yet here we are. Sometimes impossible is all we have. The summit took place aboard the Dauntless. Ji-Won insisted on it. Her ship was neutral ground. 12 species sent representatives. They filled the cargo bay, transformed into a meeting hall. Tensions were immediate. Old hatred surfaced quickly. One delegate accused another of past war crimes. Shouting broke out. Ji-Won stood and fired her pistol into the air. The shot echoed through the bay. Everyone fell silent. "Enough!" she shouted. "Listen to yourselves. You are fighting over the past while your future burns. The Unmaking does not care about your grudges. The Ascendancy does not care about your pride. They will kill you all the same." She walked through the assembled delegates. "You think humans came here to save you? We came looking for answers about our dead colonists. We stumbled into your war, but now we are here, and we see what you refuse to admit. Alone, each of you will fall. Together you have a chance. The Ascendancy divided you because you were easier to control that way. Stop letting them." A delegate from a reptilian species stood. It was Warlord Kraith, the pirate leader who had first attacked them. Ji-Won tensed, but Kraith raised his hands peacefully. "The human speaks truth. My clans attacked them. We lost badly. I made a deal with the Ascendancy to hunt them. But the Ascendancy betrayed us too. They used us and threw us away. I have learned that strength without honor is nothing. My clans will join this coalition." Slowly, other delegates agreed. Not everyone was happy. Some left immediately. But 8 species committed to the coalition. It was a start. While politics continued, Hyun led a scientific team to study the Unmaking. They took a modified shuttle to the edge of the phenomenon. What they found was terrifying. The Unmaking was not just empty space, it was alive in a way. A vast intelligence that consumed reality itself. Hyun called Ji-Won with her findings. "Captain, the Unmaking is drawn to technology that bends space. The jump gates the galaxy uses feed it energy. Every time someone travels faster than light using those gates, they make it stronger." "So the Ascendancy created this thing by accident?" Ji-Won asked. "Not created, awakened. It was dormant for millions of years. But yes, overuse of the gates woke it up, and now it is hungry." "Can we stop it?" Hyun hesitated. "Maybe. If we shut down all the gates, starve it of energy. But that would strand billions of people. No more fast travel. The galaxy would become isolated." Ji-Won felt the weight of that choice. Save the galaxy or save civilization. She pushed the decision aside for now. First, they needed to survive. The coalition first real test came quickly. Intelligence reported that the Ascendancy planned to destroy Haven Station, a research facility studying the Unmaking. If they succeeded, any chance of finding a solution would die with it. The coalition fleet moved to defend the station. The enemy force was massive. 200 Ascendancy warships. High Arbiter Veltus commanded them personally. He sent a message before the battle. "Surrender now, and I will grant you quick deaths. Resist, and I will make examples of you all." Commander Minji Park replied instead of Ji-Won. "We do not surrender. Come and try to take us." The battle was chaos. Ships exploded on both sides. The coalition used tactics the Ascendancy had never seen. Human drones coordinated with alien fighters. Different species covered each other's weaknesses. Kraith pirate ships used suicide runs to destroy key enemy vessels. Minji commanded from the Dauntless, directing the fleet like a conductor with an orchestra. She saw patterns the enemy did not. When the Ascendancy tried to flank, she had ships waiting. When they concentrated fire, she dispersed her forces. It was beautiful and deadly. Taeyang unveiled his new weapon. He had been working on it in secret. A gravity well generator that could crush ships like tin cans. When activated, it created a localized field of intense gravity. Enemy vessels were pulled together and compressed. It was horrifying and effective, but the ascendancy kept coming. For every ship they lost, more arrived. Velthus was willing to sacrifice everything to win. The coalition was running out of ammunition and energy. Ships began to retreat, damaged and helpless. Jiwan made a hard call. All ships focus fire on the command carrier. Ignore everything else. We take out Velthus and they lose coordination. That will leave us exposed, Minji protested. I know. Do it anyway. The entire coalition fleet turned toward the massive Ascendancy flagship. Every weapon fired at once. The flagship shields held, but barely. Then Kraith made his move. His personal ship, loaded with explosives, rammed the flagship at full speed. The explosion tore a hole in the enemy defenses. Coalition ships poured through the gap. They hammered the flagship with everything they had. Finally, the shields failed. The ship took critical damage. Velthus ordered a retreat. The Ascendancy fleet pulled back, leaving their damaged flagship behind. The coalition had won. Barely. Losses were heavy. Kraith was dead, along with thousands of others, but Haven Station survived. The research could continue. However, victory came with a cost beyond casualties. The Ascendancy changed tactics. If they could not win in battle, they would terrorize. Over the next weeks, they attacked civilian colonies aligned with the coalition. Entire worlds were bombed from orbit. Millions died. Jiwan watched the reports come in, her heart breaking. A farming colony where families had lived for generations, gone. A trading hub with no military value, destroyed. The Ascendancy was sending a message. Oppose us and everyone you love will die. Suho found Jiwan in her quarters. She was staring at photos of the destroyed colonies. We cannot protect them all, he said gently. The Ascendancy knows this. They are trying to break our spirit. It is working, Jiwan admitted. Every death is on me. I pushed for this coalition. I made them targets. No, the Ascendancy killed them, not you. They would have died anyway, just slower. Under Ascendancy rule, under the unmaking, you gave them a chance to fight back. To die free instead of enslaved. Jiwan stood. Then we need to end this. No more defense, we go on the attack. She called an emergency council meeting. All coalition leaders attended. Jiwan laid out her plan. We raid the Ascendancy capital. We capture Velthus and force a ceasefire. It is dangerous. Many of us will not come back, but it might be our only chance to stop the killing. Trell looked shocked. That is suicide. The capital system has thousands of defense platforms. It is the most heavily protected place in the galaxy. Exactly. They will not expect us to be that insane. We hit hard and fast. Get in, grab Velthus, get out. The vote was close, but the plan passed. Meanwhile, Hayun came to Jiwan with disturbing news. Captain, I found a way to stop the unmaking. But you will hate it. Tell me. We collapsed the jump gate network, all of it. The unmaking feeds on the energy. Without it, the phenomenon will starve and eventually fade. But collapsing the gates will strand billions of people. Travel between systems will take years instead of days. Trade will collapse. Empires will fall. It will send civilization back centuries. Jiwan felt sick. Is there no other way? Not that I can find. We can save the galaxy or save the current civilization. Not both. Jiwan did not share this with the council yet. One crisis at a time. First, they had to survive the raid on the Ascendancy capital. Then they could worry about destroying galactic civilization to save it. The coalition fleet prepared for the most dangerous mission in their history. Ships were repaired and armed. Marines trained for ground combat. Plans were made and remade. Everyone knew the odds were terrible, but they also knew that doing nothing meant death anyway. The night before departure, Jiwan walked through the Dauntless. She stopped to talk with crew members. Young and old, human and alien, they all showed the same determination. Fear, yes, but also hope. They believed in what they were doing. Minji found her in the observation deck. They stood together, looking at the stars. Corvus Prime was beautiful. From space, the planet looked like a jewel. Blue oceans, green continents, cities that sparkled like diamonds. It was also the most dangerous place in the galaxy. Thousands of warships orbited the world. Defense platforms covered every approach. Weapons that could destroy entire fleets waited in the darkness. The Coalition fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. 150 ships against thousands. Captain Ji-won Kim knew the math. They were going to die here. But if they could capture High Arbiter Velthus, maybe their deaths would mean something. All ships begin the attack run, Ji-won ordered. Her voice was steady, but her hands shook slightly. She gripped the railing harder. Make them remember us. The Coalition split into 3 groups. The main force would engage the orbital defenses, drawing attention. A smaller strike force, including the Dauntless, would use Taiyang experimental ghost drive to slip past the defenses. Major Suho Kang and his Marines would land on the planet and capture Velthus. It was a terrible plan. So many things could go wrong, but it was the only plan they had. The battle began with thunder and fire. The main Coalition force charged the orbital defenses. Missiles and energy beams filled space. Ships exploded in silent fury. The Ascendancy responded with overwhelming force. Defense platforms came online, adding their weapons to the chaos. Commander Minji Park commanded the main fleet. She watched ships die on her screens, each one a knife in her heart, but she could not stop. Her job was to keep the enemy busy. All ships focus fire on the northern platforms. Make them think we are trying to break through there. The Ascendancy took the bait. Ships moved to reinforce the northern defenses. That gave the strike force their opening. The Dauntless and 5 other ships activated their ghost drives. They vanished from sensors, becoming invisible to the enemy. Taeyang monitored the drives from engineering. Sweat poured down his face. The system was unstable. One wrong move and they would tear themselves apart. Captain, I can hold this for maybe 20 minutes. After that, we are flying blind. 20 minutes is all we need, Ji-won replied. Get us to the planet. The ghost ships slipped through the defenses like shadows. Ascendancy sensors could not detect them. They reached the planet without being fired upon. It was working. The impossible plan was actually working. Dropships launched from the Dauntless. Suho led a force of 200 Marines, the best fighters from multiple species. They entered the atmosphere, targeting the Ascendancy Palace. Intelligence said Velthus was there, coordinating the defense personally. The palace was a fortress. Massive walls, energy shields, automated defenses. Suho studied it as they descended. This is going to be ugly. Stay together, watch each other backs. And remember, we need Velthus alive. They landed hard in the palace gardens. Alarms immediately blared. Ascendancy guards poured out of buildings. The fighting started instantly. Energy bolts and bullets flew. Marines fell. Suho led his team forward, pushing through the defenses with brutal efficiency. Inside the palace, the combat was close and vicious. Corridors became killing zones. The Ascendancy guards were well-trained and fought with desperate courage. They knew if the Coalition won, their empire was finished. The Marines knew if they failed, everyone they cared about would die. Both sides had everything to lose. Suho took a blast to the shoulder. The pain was intense, but he kept moving. His team needed him. They fought their way deeper into the palace. Bodies littered the hallways. The beautiful decorations were destroyed. Blood-stained ancient art. Above the planet, the battle worsened. Minji was losing ships fast. The Ascendancy realized the main attack was a diversion. They were pulling forces back, searching for the real threat. Captain, Minji called. They know something is wrong. We cannot hold much longer. Just a little more time, Ji-won begged. Suho is almost there. In the palace throne room, High Arbiter Velthus waited. He was not afraid. The old insectoid leader stood tall, surrounded by his elite guards. When Suho Marines burst through the doors, Velthus did not run. The final fight was brief but intense. Velthus guards died defending him. Suho took another wound, this one to the leg. He fell but kept firing. His Marines overwhelmed the last defenders. Finally, Velthus stood alone. Suho aimed his weapon at the Arbiter. Surrender. Order your forces to stand down, Velthus laughed. It was a strange sound like clicking and hissing. You think capturing me changes anything? The unmaking will consume you all. I tried to save my people. I did terrible things, yes, But I did them so my species could survive. What have you accomplished except spreading chaos? Suho limped closer. You murdered innocents. You started wars. You kept everyone ignorant while the galaxy burned. You are not a savior. You are a coward who sacrificed others to save yourself. Then kill me, Velthus challenged. But know that my death solves nothing. The unmaking grows stronger every day. Your coalition will crumble, and humanity will die screaming in the dark. Suho wanted to pull the trigger. This creature had caused so much pain. But Ji-Wan had been clear. They needed Velthus alive. You are coming with us. Your empire is over. Back in orbit, disaster struck. The Ascendancy fleet had found the ghost ships. The Dauntless was taking heavy fire. Shields were failing. Hull breaches on multiple decks. Ji-Wan knew they were out of time. Dr. Hyun Lee came to the bridge. She carried a device small and complex. Captain, I can activate the gate collapse now. If we do it here at the center of Ascendancy power, it will cascade through the entire network. The unmaking will starve. And strand billions, Ji-Wan said. Destroy civilization, or save the galaxy. There is no good choice here. Only terrible ones. Ji-Wan looked around her bridge. Her crew was battered but still fighting. Outside ships were dying to give them time. In the palace, Suho was bleeding from multiple wounds. All of them had sacrificed so much. Could she ask them for more? The ship rocked from another hit. Fire suppression systems activated. Taeyang shouted, Ghost drive is failing! We have minutes before it collapses! Ji-Wan made her decision. Hyun, activate the device. Taeyang, prepare to evacuate the ship. All hands to escape pods. Minji, order the fleet to retreat. What about you? Minji asked from the main fleet. I am staying. The Dauntless will ram the central defense station. It will give you time to escape and create enough chaos for the gate collapse to work. Captain, no. Multiple voices protested. Her crew refused to leave. They had come this far together. They would finish it together. Ji-Wan felt tears in her eyes. You stubborn fools, fine. All hands brace for impact. Taeyang, give me everything the engines have. The Dauntless turned toward the massive defense station at the heart of the Ascendancy fleet. The station was the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons. Ji-Wan aimed straight for it. The ship accelerated. The Ascendancy tried to stop them. Hundreds of ships fired. The Dauntless shields collapsed. Armor melted. The ship was coming apart, but it kept going. Momentum carried it forward like a spear thrown by an angry god. At the last moment, other coalition ships moved to shield the Dauntless. They took hits meant for the flagship. Ships exploded to buy seconds. Their sacrifice gave Ji-Wan the time she needed. The Dauntless struck the defense station dead center. The impact was catastrophic. The station began to tear itself apart. Secondary explosions rippled across its surface, and in that moment Hyun activated her device. The jump gates began to collapse. First one, then 10, then hundreds. Across the galaxy, the ancient gates that connected worlds shut down. The cascade spread like dominoes falling. The unmaking, suddenly cut off from its food source, recoiled. Stars stopped vanishing. The advance halted, but millions were now stranded. Ships caught between systems drifted, lost. Colonies dependent on trade faced starvation. The galaxy convulsed as the old order shattered. On the Dauntless, alarms screamed. The ship was dying. Ji-Wan gave the final order. Abandon ship. Everyone to the escape pods now. Her crew obeyed reluctantly. They fled to coalition ships that moved in to rescue them. Ji-Wan stayed on the bridge, watching her ship fall apart. She had been its captain since construction. The Dauntless had been her home. Now it would be her tomb, but Minji had other plans. She sent a boarding party to physically drag Ji-Wan off the bridge. You do not get to die a hero, Minji said as Marines carried the struggling captain to a shuttle. We need you alive. The last shuttle left moments before the Dauntless exploded. The blast took out the remains of the defense station and damaged dozens of nearby Ascendancy ships. The destruction was total. In the palace, Suho heard the explosion. He forced Velthus to a window. Together they watched the fireball fade. Your empire is over, Suho said. Surrender now or we leave you here and let your own people deal with you. Velthus looked at the destruction. He saw his fleet in disarray. The jump gates were gone. His power was broken. He made a choice that surprised everyone. He accessed the palace communication system and broadcast to every Ascendancy channel. People of the Ascendancy, this is High Arbiter Velthus. I am ordering an immediate ceasefire. The war is over. I have been captured, but more importantly, I have been defeated. Not just in battle, but in philosophy. I ruled through fear and lies. I told you we fought for survival, but really, I fought for control. The unmaking was real. The threat was real. But instead of... 6 months had passed since the Battle of Corvus Prime. Admiral Ji-won Kim stood in the construction bay watching workers build the UESN Legacy. The new ship was larger than the Dauntless, stronger, and built with lessons learned from hard experience. It would be ready in 3 months. Earth had committed everything to the project. The galaxy was rebuilding. Slowly. Without the jump gates, everything had changed. Travel took months instead of days. Trade routes needed complete redesign. Colonies that relied on imports faced shortages. Some species adapted quickly. Others struggled. A few did not survive, but there was hope too. Species that had been enemies for centuries now worked together. They had no choice. Survival required cooperation. The Corvian ascendancy had transformed into something new. No longer an empire, but a democracy. Former subjects now had voices. Velthus remained as an advisor, helping guide the transition. Many wanted him executed for his crimes. Ji-won convinced them otherwise. The galaxy needed his knowledge and experience. Commander Minji Park found Ji-won in the observation deck. She carried data tablets and looked tired. The council meeting is in an hour. You need to review these proposals. Ji-won sighed. Politics. She had become a politician somehow. The Galactic Council had formed 2 months ago, with representatives from 20 species. Ji-won served as one of 3 rotating chairs. She hated it. Give her a battle any day over a committee meeting. What are we arguing about today? Ji-won asked. Resource allocation. The Tarvian colonies need food. The Nexian Federation needs ship parts. The former Ascendancy worlds need everything. We do not have enough to give everyone what they need. We never do, Ji-won said. But we make it work somehow. What else? The unmaking. It is stirring again. That got Ji-won attention. What? Hyun said shutting down the gates would stop it. She said it would starve it. But apparently it is adapting. It is weaker than before, but still dangerous. Hyun wants to lead an expedition to study it more. She thinks we can seal it permanently if we understand it better. Ji-won rubbed her temples. One crisis after another. Fine, approve her expedition. Give her whatever she needs. What else is going wrong? Minji smiled slightly. Actually, some good news. Taeyang finished the prototype. The new drive system works. It is slower than the old jump gates, but sustainable. It does not damage reality. For the first time in weeks, Ji-won felt genuine happiness. The Nexus drive? It actually works. Tested it yesterday. Took a ship from here to the outer rim in 3 days. That is fast enough to reconnect the galaxy. Slow enough to not wake the unmaking. Taeyang wants to present it at the council meeting. And Earth's stance on sharing the technology? Free for everyone. No restrictions. Earth wants to help, not control. Ji-won felt proud. Humanity could have held the technology hostage, used it for leverage. Instead, they chose generosity. Maybe there was hope for the galaxy after all. The council meeting was chaotic as usual. 20 species meant 20 opinions. Arguments broke out over procedure before they even discussed issues. Ji-won banged her gavel repeatedly to restore order. Some days she wanted to bang it on certain representatives' heads instead. But when Taeyang presented the Nexus drive, the room fell silent. He showed them the data, explained the science in simple terms. Then he made the announcement. Earth offers this technology freely to all species. No payment required. No political conditions. We want the galaxy to heal. This is how we help. Ambassador Trell stood slowly. The bird-like alien looked emotional. In all my years, I have never seen such generosity between species. Humanity has saved us twice now, first from the Ascendancy, then from isolation. The Nexian Federation formally proposes that Earth becomes a founding member of the Galactic Council, with full voting rights. The vote was unanimous. Humanity was no longer an outsider. They were part of the galactic community. Ji-won felt tears in her eyes. They had come so far from that first desperate battle. After the meeting, Velthus approached Ji-won. The former High Arbiter moved slowly now, his age showing. Admiral, I wanted to thank you. For what? Destroying your empire? For showing me a better way. I ruled through fear because I thought it was necessary. You proved that cooperation is stronger than domination. My people are happier now than they ever were under my rule. That is humbling. Ji-won nodded. You are helping now. That matters more than what you did before. We all make mistakes. The question is whether we learn from them. Weeks passed. Dr. Hyun Lee led her expedition to the edge of the unmaking. What she discovered was both terrifying and fascinating. The entity was indeed adapting, learning, but it was also weakening. Hyun found a way to seal the rifts permanently using modified jump gates as stabilizers. It would take years and enormous resources. But it was possible. The council approved the project immediately. Species contributed what they could. Former enemies worked side by side on the most important mission in galactic history, save reality itself. One day, Ji-won received word that Major Suho Kang had been promoted. He now commanded the new Galactic Peacekeeping Force, a military made up of volunteers from every species. Their job was to protect trade routes, stop pirates, and respond to emergencies. Suho took the job seriously. He trained his diverse force with the same intensity he had shown on the Dauntless. Taeyang became the galaxy's most famous engineer. Every species wanted him to help design their ships. He split his time between projects, teaching others his methods. He believed knowledge should be shared, not hoarded. His students came from dozens of worlds, learning to push the boundaries of what was possible. Minji remained as Ji-won's second in command. When the legacy was completed, she would serve as its executive officer. Until then, she managed the chaos of daily operations. Someone had to keep everything running while Ji-won dealt with politics. 3 months later, the moment came. The combined fleets of the galaxy gathered at the edge of the unmaking. Hundreds of ships from every species. They carried the modified jump gates, ready to seal the rifts. Yun directed operations from her science vessel. Everything had to happen simultaneously or the plan would fail. All ships prepare to activate the gates on my mark. Yun transmitted. 3, 2, 1, mark. The modified gates activated together. Energy pulsed across space. The unmaking reacted violently, fighting against the seals. Reality bent and twisted. Several ships were damaged by the backlash, but the seals held. Slowly, the rifts began to close. It took 6 hours. 6 hours of constant effort, adjusting power levels, reinforcing weak points. But finally it was done. The unmaking was sealed. The galaxy was safe. For now, at least. Celebrations erupted across known space. Different species had different traditions, but joy was universal. They had faced extinction and survived. Together, Ji-won watched the celebrations from the Legacy Bridge. The new ship was finally ready. Tomorrow they would take it on its first mission. But tonight she allowed herself to rest. Minji joined her, along with Taeyang, Hyun, and a recovered Suho. The original crew of the Dauntless together again. We did it, Taeyang said, raising a glass. We actually did it. We lost so many people along the way, Suho said quietly. I hope they would be proud. They would, Ji-won said firmly. We did not just survive. We built something better, a galaxy where species work together instead of fighting, where knowledge is shared instead of hoarded, where everyone has a voice. That is worth the cost, Hyun smiled. I am writing a book about our journey. From first contact to now, I want future generations to know what we went through, what we learned. Make sure you include the parts where we messed up, Minji said. The mistakes are as important as the victories. Maybe more important. Years passed. The galaxy continued to change. The Nexus Drive connected worlds again. Trade flourished. Culture mixed. New friendships formed. Children of different species played together, not caring about the wars their parents had fought. The Galactic Council evolved into a true government. Not perfect, but better than what came before. Disputes were settled with words instead of weapons. Resources were shared based on need, not power. It was not paradise. There were still problems, conflicts, injustices. But the trend was toward cooperation, not domination. On a frontier colony named Hope, a monument was built. It listed the names of everyone who died in the war against the Ascendancy and the Unmaking. Thousands of names from dozens of species. At the base of the monument, a plaque read simple words. From nowhere, a single ship appeared. Not to conquer, but to stand. Not to rule, but to endure. And in standing, they reminded the galaxy what it had forgotten. That survival is not earned alone, but together. Admiral Ji-won Kim retired after 10 years of service. She had earned it. The galaxy was stable, thriving even. New leaders had emerged to carry on the work. She returned to Earth, to a small house by the ocean. Minji came with her. They had been through too much to ever truly be apart. One morning, Jiwan received a message. It was from the Colony Hope. They wanted her to attend the monument dedication ceremony. She almost refused. Ceremonies made her uncomfortable. But Minji convinced her to go. The ceremony was beautiful. Representatives from every species attended. Children sang songs in multiple languages. Jiwan stood before the monument reading the names. So many dead. But their sacrifice had meaning. The galaxy they helped create was better than the one they left.